Hi everyone, welcome to On the Other Hand. I'm Ariane Zurcher, and today we're doing lesson number 9. We are continuing to hand stitch our shapes, a couple at a time. Remember, these videos are not to be taken in place of the instruction booklet, but are in addition to the instruction booklet. You won't be able to make the pouch by just watching these videos. Don't forget to hit that like button. Click on the subscribe button and the little bell that pops up for email notifications. I love hearing from you, so leave me comments in the comments section. And let's get started on our next lesson of our River Rocks pouch. Here's my back. And I'm going to do a running stitch, just like I did on this one, just inside the wave-like shape. Very close to the edge. Since I have my Alana wool out, I've got this circle and I'm going to stuff this one. So it doesn't matter what the color is. I mean, it should be one of in the beige sort of family, but it doesn't match this, and that's fine. I'm not going to cut a new one. I have this one. It was sitting there. It won't matter, because what I'm going to do is I am going to make another one of these. And as you can see, the whole wool is covered. You don't see it at all. So it doesn't matter. It's just a way of stuffing it. I need to stuff it. So any scrap of wool, obviously I wouldn't do bright red, so anything that's not going to bleed through, but any of the beige family, if you have just a scrap, and then whip stitch it down. And I'm going to show you how I do this. So I whip stitch it down, but I don't go all the way around. I'm going to leave a little space. And let's see, so I don't need to leave that big of a space. I really need just enough that I can slide a little, like an applique or my purple thing or something like that in there to stuff it. So I don't know if you can see, but this is how much I'm leaving open. I'm just going to anchor my thread over here. I'm going to stuff this. With this one, I didn't put much stuffing in, and it's pretty subtle. I mean, I don't even know if you can tell that it's stuffed. It is definitely higher than if I'd left it. It's certainly not flat, and I kind of like that. I could have added a little more stuffing into it, but it's fine. This one, I'm going to add a little bit more, and I'm going to get out my little, do you see how it's written applique? It comes in as a pair, but it's got like this little scoopy thing here, and it's perfect for stuffing. So I just take a little cloud of stuffing, and I'm going to stick him in here. Need to get that wool circle out. Okay, I'm going to stuff it more. Okay, so there's that. I think I'm going to put a little bit more in, just a little. I want it pretty dense. Alright, so I've stuffed my 5/8 of an inch circle. I really stuffed it. You can see how high, and it's quite compact, unlike this one, which I didn't stuff quite as much. I made that much less. This is much more prominent. I'm using my Silk and Pearl Evergreens, a 24 chenille. I'm going to map out 10 spokes. So I'm going to do my center, and then I just want to mark at the edges here. I don't need to go all the way. I just need to make a mark to where where my thread is going to go in and emerge. I'm going to go right into this one. And go right into here. I'm angling my needle down because I want this to be very much a circle, a kind of round cushion-like object. I'm going to pull that pretty taut. I'm going to go in here. And then I'm going to go in here and here. All right, so I have my spokes done, and now I'm just going to start doing my weaving for the whipped woven, which is coming up right at center, going back one, going forward two. And I'm going to do this until I've covered this entire circle. I use my thumb to anchor the thread and to keep it from moving around too much. I also want to make sure that that thread is right up snug against the center. My little whipped woven tuffet. And now I think I'm going to do a couple of tendrils, maybe some very long cast on bullions. Using this, which is my House of Embroidery number 5. It's in the number 71. And I'm going to do this on a number 1 Milner's. So I'm going to do a couple of cast on bullion knots, but I want them fairly long, so I'm going to go all the way out to here and then back in here, and I'm going to do my cast ons. So that's 24, actually 28, 27, 28, and I'm going to pull that through. I want to make sure that my back isn't pulling the fabric in, so I want to keep that somewhat loose. And then I don't mind that this is twisting on me. It's fine. And I'm going to anchor it down. And I'm going to do one more, I think coming out of here. And I'm going to go right to the edge here. And I'll start my cast-ons. So that was 24. And that there. I'll do one more coming out over here. I did 5 cast-on bullion sort of tendrils cast-ons. I'm using number 8 weight EZM 55, and I'm just doing a series of 3 wrap French knots, and I'm just going to do a couple of clusters of them around this shape. I want it to look random, but I'm also thinking about just the aesthetic of it. So I want a cluster, and then I want, a couple that are just kind of going off, and literally off the shape. So I've got like this little mass, and then I've got this, and then I just want to do maybe one in here. And then maybe I skip a whole area, and maybe I do one out. Maybe I do one out here. And maybe I do one in here. I'm also thinking about what else I'm going to do. And so I'm keeping that in mind as well. And maybe I do a little group here. Right at the tip of this one's leg. Of gold and a 1 Milner's. I'm doing a series of Colonial knots kind of randomly, and I'm just going to do one more here. And that's going to be that. I'm going to do a couple of little drizzle stitches here. I'm using House of Embroidery, the 5 weight. It's color number 13. And a bullion knot needle. Could use a 1 Milner's too. I think I'll do 5 of these maybe, right, all in this area. Okay, I think I'll do just a few little colonial knots. I'm going here. This is a 5/8 of an inch circle that I've cut, and then I folded it in half, and I just cut out a little center hole. And I'm going to whip stitch this down now. All right, so there's my whip stitched donut. I think I might do a herringbone ladder stitch here. So I come up in the middle of one of these outer stitches, and I'm using a number 8 weight. This is Easy M55 and my number 24 chenille. So I come up inside one of the stitches. I'm then going to, and I'm going to be working counterclockwise. I'm going to go down that same stitch, so right here. So it's going to do a little twist, and then I'm going to come up on the opposite stitch, so right there. And then I'm going to go down on the next stitch, which is here, and I'm keeping my thread underneath. I want to be sure to do that. And then I'm going to come up on the next stitch over, and I want to make sure that this stitch is going to be underneath, behind the needle. And I'm just going to do this going all the way around. So I'm going to go down, and then I'm going to come up. I want to make sure that that thread is under the needle and to the left, because it's going to give me that little twist. And then this is going to go, I want to keep that thread always to the left of me. Come up, and I'm going to go down. If I just can remember that my thread is always going to be under the needle and it's going to be to the left, I'll be fine. So there it is. It's pretty cool looking, isn't it? Love that. I love how when you do this ladder, it just, in a circle like this, it just kind of radiates out, which is, I think, a very cool looking look. I'm going to do my Arctic rays that I have here, and I used on the front just a little, and I figure I'm going to do a little something with it here, and then maybe one over here. And maybe one here. And then I think one here. And I want to do another one like right here. And I think I want to do another one close, do a little cluster here. And maybe one here. Not really thinking about this too much. Okay. I'm going to do a couple of picots here, 3-spoke picot. So here I've got my little French knots randomly. I've got my 5 picots sticking up. I've got my herringbone ladder stitch, and now with my House of Embroidery number 41, it's the number 5 weight, I'm going to do some little French knots here. I'm just doing 2 wrap French knots. And then I'm just going to kind of randomly go, and again, clusters of them with a few sort of strays. And I can even go out into the water area. Basically, I'm going to use up the whatever thread I've got here. A little cluster here, and that's going to be it. So there it is. This is my Oriental linen, old lace. I've got that threaded up, and I'm just going to do a couple of French knots here, 2 wrap. I'm going to go off into the little outside here. And I might do a couple over here. And maybe one over close by, and maybe one more. And I'll do a couple in here. Okay, so there it is. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this was helpful as you continue to stitch your pouch. Don't forget to hit that like button, click on the subscribe button and the little bell that pops up for email notifications. I love hearing from you. Leave me comments in the comments section, and don't forget to check out the description section where I'm leaving links to all the different threads and materials that I use in this pouch. Until next time, here's to stitching our River Rocks pouch together.